Hi guys, I'm Michelle from Full Motion Bodyworks, and I am here to bring you a flow for the workplace warrior. So if you work a 9-to-5 job or you sit at a desk all day, this series is going to help you. You spend a lot of time in forward flexion, your hands are here, and you get really forward pulled. So we're going to try and focus on taking you into full extension, opening up all of these areas that spend all day contracted and pulled forward, so that you guys will be avoiding things like dowager's hump and major hip flexor issues. So for this flow, things that you need, I'm going to be using a chair. You can use a coffee table or your couch. A chair is good, whatever is available to you. If you don't have anything nearby, you can do a lot of these standing, and I'll kind of explain modifications as we go. And for a little bonus chest opener at the end, if you have 2 yoga blocks or even just one, you can also use a foam roller going like lengthwise. Good stuff to have nearby. So let's get started with some neck work. We're going to start warming up the neck with some circles. So go ahead and tuck the chin into the chest. Really nice and slow, roll the ear to the shoulder. And as you bring your head back, make sure you're not just letting it drop into extension. Let it mindfully go back so that your neck and head feel protected. If you've had whiplash or concussion, sometimes that feeling of your head going back can trigger a lot of tightness in your neck because your body's trying to say, I don't know if this is safe. So you want to be really mindful. We'll switch directions with your circles, going the other way. Nice and slow, so just warming up the neck here. We'll do one more circle, and then we're going to get started by stretching the front of the neck. So what happens is the anterior part of the neck, those muscles get really tight and contracted. Let your head just float back to the center. So these muscles, when you are being pulled forward as you're looking at your screen and you're sitting, so go ahead and take your hands on top of the collarbone and just drop your elbows so you're really gently pinning your collarbone down. And then you're just going to float your chin gently up to the ceiling and make little rainbow arcs with your chin, side to side. You can start small and then go bigger. Nice and easy. Now, if you have any jaw issues like TMJ or some clicking and popping in your jaw, or you clench a lot, what you can do here is just open and close your mouth like you're taking a bite, a big bite of the air. And you want to do that kind of in every direction. So just chomp, chomp, as you are doing those little rainbow arcs. It's totally optional if you don't feel like you need to. But don't worry about feeling silly, because it actually is very helpful if you have jaw issues. So we'll do one more little arch going this way, and then you're just going to gently let your head float back down to where we started. So now that we've stretched that area, we're going to bring in some activation, because again, these muscles get shortened, and a lot of times we feel irritated back here in these muscles, but it's because there's no activation happening here. So I'm going to turn to the side so you guys can see. And what you're going to do is you're going to practice tucking your chin directly back into your head. So I don't want you tucking down, I want you to push your chin straight back. So you're literally giving yourself like a double chin. So just push back and then relax, come forward. So we'll just do maybe like 5 or 10 little chin tucks here. So just pushing the chin straight back. If you're having a hard time doing that, you can also like sit or stand against a wall. So the wall's right at the back of your head, and you can imagine just pushing your head straight back into the wall. Feels a little bit awkward at first, but people can usually feel these muscles firing up right away. So just push back. This is a great little move to do at your desk as you're sitting there during the day, just to keep these muscles active and from atrophying as you're just sitting all day. So we'll do 2 more here. Tuck the chin, come out, 1 more, tuck the chin, perfect. I'm gonna scoot back here. So we're gonna warm up the shoulders, chest area next. So go ahead and take one hand, put it on top of your shoulders, and you're just going to rotate that elbow forward to start with. So we'll make a couple little circles going forward. You can make them a little bit bigger as you go if it feels good for you. And if you don't have any major shoulder issues, like no rotator cuff tears, anything like that, then you can switch directions, rotate back behind you, make your circles nice and big. And if that feels good, then you can just extend your arm, open it. You can kind of follow it as you go with your upper body. Nice big circles to get a little T-spine mobility, which we're going to move on to next. We'll do one more big circle, then we're just going to switch sides. So go ahead, fingertips to the top of the next shoulder, and just rotate that elbow forward to start with. We'll do a few circles here. Make them bigger as you feel comfortable. Good, and then you're just going to switch directions, go back behind you, circle, circle. And when you're ready, you're just going to extend that arm. Do some nice big circles here. Do a couple more nice big circles. Perfect, we're going to go back to the middle. You're going to take each hand and place it on the opposite knee. Doesn't matter which arm is on top, because that's going to be the mover first. So whatever arm is on top, you're going to take that arm and open it up behind you. This hand that's on this knee is just going to kind of anchor itself here. So you're going to take this arm back, reach way back behind you, follow your gaze, follow your hand with your eyes. Your gaze goes back. You can use this hand as leverage to push you open a little further to get a little bit of a spinal twist. Take a deep breath. And now that hand that's back is going to come and dive underneath this hand. Grab onto this knee, same thing other side. So now this is the top hand, it reaches back behind you, get a nice little twist, take a deep breath, and we'll go again. So dive underneath, this hand goes back behind, see if you can twist a little bit further, take a deep breath there. Now you're going to dive this hand underneath, other side, reach back behind you, nice deep breath. Good, and we're coming back to the center, and you can just relax. We're going to come onto all fours, so on your hands and knees here, and we're going to work on some wrist activation. So to warm up the wrists, you're going to go ahead and just do some nice little wrist circles in and out. Thin out that synovial fluid, warm up the joint a little bit before we kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it. And then you're going to take your hands, interlace them, and you're just going to make little figure eights. So again, we're just warming up, trying to move them in every direction before we stretch. Get some good blood flow going in there. Just move them all around. Then you can extend your fingertips, try and move them into figure eights that way. Just changes it up a little bit. Good, then you're going to take your hands, spread your fingertips wide. You're going to bring them right down to the floor. So again, fingertips are spread. You're kind of sitting back on your feet here, on your haunches. And you're going to start by just making some circles over your wrists. So you're just going to circle your body gently, slowly over your wrists in both directions. So just kind of going back and forth. And every time, try and reach over your hands a little bit more. So you're getting further and further over the top into flexion there. We'll do maybe one more here. And then we're going to go ahead and move your hands so that your fingertips are pointing away from each other. So fingertips are still spread, but now your fingertips are pointing out away from each other, and we're just going to rock side to side. You can let your fingertips come up if that feels good on the other hand as you rock away from it. These are great moves to do every day, especially if you sit at a computer all day. Really hard on the wrists to do that. And now we're going to take it one step further, and you're going to take your hands and point your fingertips straight back at you, like this. Fingertips are spread down on the floor. If that's too intense for you, just angle out your fingertips to wherever feels comfortable. You don't want to sit in pain here. You want to kind of just ride the edge of the pain, like, oh, like that's getting intense, but you don't want it to hurt. So if it's too intense, angle your hands out. Otherwise, fingertips go right back to you. And then you're just going to sit back again on your heels and stretch it out. Nice deep breaths. Good. We'll do maybe one more little rock forward and back. And then you're going to flip your hands. So we were pointing this way. You're just going to flip. So now your palm is up, so facing up, and your hands are going to go down. Fingertips are still spread. This is usually the most intense for people. So if you find your elbows are bending, that's okay. We're going to work. Our goal would maybe be to get to straight arms, but stay with what feels comfortable to you. So for me, this feels good. And then we're just going to sit back. Oh, it feels so nice. Maybe it doesn't feel nice if you have not stretched this way before and you are really tight in your wrists and your forearms because you work at a desk. But if you do these every day, they get easier, and eventually you'll find it doesn't hurt at all. It actually feels really nice. So something to work on. I would do this every day, especially if you're in this position and you're really bent and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so intense. That means you really need to work on it. So take a nice deep breath there. Do one more little deep breath. Good, and then go ahead and sit up, shake it out, and we're gonna bring a little bit of activation back in by just reaching your arms up and doing little squeezes with your hands. So squeeze, 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 quick, quick, quick. Bring some blood flow back, activation back into your hands. Perfect. So now that we're here on our knees, you're gonna go ahead and use your chair, your coffee table, your couch, whatever you need. And we're gonna get into some chest and a little bit more T-spine. So we're gonna start with your arm at 90 degrees. You're gonna place it in that position on your chair, your couch, whatever you're using. If you don't have anything, stand in the doorway with this part of your arm on the door. And then you're just gonna take a nice deep breath and gently drop your shoulder down towards the floor and look away from this arm on the chair. You should already feel a nice little stretch happening in your chest. So nice deep breath here. Open up the chest. Good, come back to the center. We're just gonna change this arm's position a little bit. So we're going from here, you're going to raise the elbow up a little bit here at a different angle. So still pushing that elbow into the seat or the chair, whatever you've got, coffee table, dropping that shoulder down to the floor and looking away. So you've got 3 attachments on the pec minor, so we're trying to hit each one of those. Nice deep breath. So it changes the stretch just a tiny bit. And then back to the center. One more time, you're gonna reach the elbow up a little bit higher. So we started here, here, coming up again. Not an exact science. You can kind of mess around with it on the chair actually and see where it feels best for you. And drop the shoulder, look away, and breathe. People will normally find that one of these is way more tight than the other. So kind of hang out at the tightest spot as long as you need to. Nice deep breaths. Good, back to the center. So now you're just going to shimmy away from your chair a little bit, and you're going to have your arm just straight. So pushing the wrist into the chair, dropping that shoulder down to the floor still, and then looking away. Getting more into the pec major. Deep breath. Good. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So I'll move the chair here, you guys can just flip around. So we're gonna start again, arm at about 90 degrees, pushing the elbow into the chair, and you're gonna drop that shoulder down towards the floor and then gently look away. You might notice one side is way tighter than the other. That's totally normal. And just take some nice deep breaths. One more deep breath here. And then we're just gonna angle that arm. So from here, up a little bit more, pushing that elbow into the chair, drop the shoulder towards the floor, look away. Take a nice deep breath there. We'll do one more. Come back to the center, and we're gonna do one more time. Bring it up again. Push it into the chair, shoulder to the floor, look away. And you can always play around with the angles. You can kind of sit back to see if maybe that feels a little bit better for you. And breathe. Nice deep breaths. Good, we'll come back to the center. Now you're just gonna shimmy away from the chair a little bit, straighten that arm so the wrist goes into the chair, drop that shoulder down towards the floor and look away. Feels really nice. For me, I'm nursing. I'm a full-time nursing mom, so the chest always feels so tight, and this just feels great for me. Good, we'll come back to the center. So now you're going to face your chair or your coffee table, whatever you've got. And you're going to put both elbows onto the chair, and you're just going to, again, kind of shimmy back. And you're going to kind of keep your hands together here and just drop your chest, nice little pop in my upper back, drop your chest down towards the floor. Your gaze should go right in the middle of those elbows, directly down in front of you here. You don't want to be cranking your neck up towards your hands. Look straight ahead and just push your chest gently towards the floor and take some nice deep breaths. So we're just trying to bring some nice extension into your upper back using a little bit of leverage. Nice deep breaths here. Good, and we're going to just gently come up, and we're going to use the chair, coffee table, whatever you've got again, to get into the hip flexors, specifically the psoas. So my head will be cut off here, but you can see my body. I'm a one-woman show, so I'm not going to move the camera around too much. You're going to step one leg up on top of your chair, coffee table, whatever you've got. Lift this back foot up, so you're up on your toe. Position your foot right on the chair wherever it's comfortable. And then you're just gonna drop that heel back down, and you should get a nice pull in through this hip flexor here. And you can kind of tilt your hip out to the side away from your body, and you'll get a little bit different stretch there. So just kind of move around to see where it feels the best for you. Just want to lengthen those hip flexors as much as you can, because you're spending all of your day with contracted hip flexors. So you really have to open those up. If you sit and sit and sit for days and hours on end, your hip flexors will actually start to lay down extra collagen in this area, which is why you lose flexibility and you feel so tight here, because it thinks your body needs help staying in that position because you're there so often. So bringing as much extension as you can through here is so important. So we'll go ahead and lean back, and you can just kind of lean back into a hamstring stretch. So just pop that heel down, toes up, and just kind of lean forward. So kind of hinging at the hips here, get a nice little stretch through here. And then we're just switching legs. So step that leg down, opposite leg comes up onto the chair. So back foot comes up, adjust that foot onto the chair into your final position, drop that back heel down, and you get a nice little stretch through that hip flexor. Trying to bring as much extension into the hip flexors as you possibly can if you spend a lot of time sitting. It's so important, especially if you do things like run or work out. You kind of pop this hip out to the side. It's so important to battle all of that sitting. If you sit a lot and those hip flexors are super tight, and then you go do something demanding like running, you really need to make sure that your hip flexors are stretched, stable, and strong. Take one more deep breath here. And then again, we'll just kind of lean back so you can pop your toes up, heels down. Just make your chest nice and big and hinge forward at the hips. Take a couple of nice deep breaths there. Good, and I'm going to take my foot off. I'm going to hop on down to the ground, and we're going to use this chair, coffee table, whatever you've got, to help us a little bit with your glutes. So you're going to scooch right close into the chair, put your feet up on it, and you're going to take one leg and bring it up and over the other, so you've got a nice little figure four, and this foot is just kind of resting here for now. You're going to take one hand on top of this knee and just gently push away to open up kind of the front of the hip capsule, and you might feel it in the back as well. Take a nice deep breath there. And then from here, you're just going to take this bottom foot and bring it to the edge of the chair, so you're bringing your figure four with you, and just hold it here. Take a few nice deep breaths.
So this is a great way to get into the glutes if you find that the figure 4 with a strap or your hands is just really cumbersome. Maybe you're really tight. Just having the chair there to support you, to support your foot so you can get a better stretch into this hip. Sometimes that's all you need. It's just a little bit of a prop to help you out. And then we're just going to go ahead and switch legs. So take this leg off here, bring it back out, bring this leg up and over. So again, we're going to start by pushing this leg away with your free hand. Take a nice deep breath here. Kind of let the front of the hip open up. One more deep breath. And then you're just going to slide that heel on the chair up towards the end to bring that figure 4 into you. If you need to adjust this leg, go ahead and do that to where it's comfortable so you're not getting a pinch in the front, and you should be feeling it in your glute on that side. Just a nice easy stretch. Take a few nice deep breaths. When you're sitting all the time, again, your glutes get really tight and contracted, inactive. So we're just trying to kind of bring them back to life here. Stretch them out. If sitting a lot is something you do because you work a desk job, you want to work on really strengthening your glutes, especially your external rotators, to kind of combat all of the bad things that come from sitting all day. One more deep breath here. Good, we'll uncross, give yourself a nice little squeeze and rock a little bit side to side. And so we're just I'm gonna roll over and get this chair out of the way. So now if you've got yoga blocks, this is the time to grab them. If you don't, you can use a foam roller going lengthwise, or actually going this way, I guess. So foam roller would be going this way. But I'm going to use a yoga block facing this way, and I've got two because I want one underneath my head. If you don't have a yoga block, an extra one to put under your head, or if you're using the foam roller, you just want to grab a pillow or a rolled up towel or blanket so that you have some support under your head so it's not just hanging, because again, your body doesn't like that, especially if you've had a concussion or whiplash. So make sure your head is supported. So now we're just going to finish off by opening up through the chest, bringing you into some really nice, juicy, deep extension. So you're going to take your yoga block, and if you're able, you're going to set it up this way. If you're really flexible, you can always pop it up this way. But I would start here. If you need to go here, you can, but this is kind of the ideal height. So you're going to place it right along your spine, kind of between your shoulder blades. And you might have to move it up kind of right along the bra line, where your bra line is the bottom of your bra line. That's where it would start. Knees are bent. So I'm going to use this to put under my head here. So again, it's not dangling. Or if you have a pillow, if you've got more flexibility, your head might touch the floor, and then you don't need anything underneath it. But you don't want your head to just hang there. If you have to, you can use your hands to hold on to it, but make sure it's supported somehow. So once you've kind of adjusted your blocks so that they're comfortable there, I'm going to move mine up just a hair. You can just let your arms float open here and take some nice deep breaths. So chin is up, you're in some really lovely extension. And if you want to further open up the hips and the hip flexors, you're just going to bring your feet together and let your knees, nice little hip pop, drop out to the side and breathe. Nice deep breaths. This is a lovely way to end your day. If you sit all day and you're kind of hunched forward, this is a great way to bring you into some nice, beautiful extension before you lay down to go to bed and start another day where you're forward, flexed, and hunched over. Nice deep breaths. Let the chest open. Get some nice extension into your T-spine and through your hips. If it feels better for you, you can always bring your legs out straight, but I like to add in that little bit of a hip opener, bonus hip opener right here. So we'll do a couple more deep breaths here. I would encourage you to stay here if you've got more time for maybe like 5 minutes. And just breathe. and really let your tissue kind of reset and come out of that flexion mindset into some nice extension. So we'll do one more deep breath in, out, and then when you're ready, you can bring your knees back in. And be very gentle coming out of it. Support your head as you come up. If you need to roll out of it, you certainly can. Try not to just let your head hang and pull up. So there is a short 25-minute flow. If you are a 9-to-5er and you work a desk job, do this as much as you possibly can to bring you into extension and out of that flexion. Check out my YouTube page for more videos.